Thanks so much for joining me on the Listen Up Girl podcast. Before I get started in today's episode, I'd love to ask you to go to the description of this podcast and click on the audience survey link. I'd love to get your feedback on this show, Listen Up Girl, and also my other podcasts, Everything and Anything and a Bit Gay. I want to get to know who my audience is and find out what you're looking for. I have so many ideas and guests I want to bring on. But before going into 2026, I would love to get your feedback and thoughts. It only takes less than 10 minutes to complete it, and I really appreciate you doing it. But let's get into today's Listen Up Girl podcast. This is the news podcast where we serve you headlines with heart, truth, with a bite, and unapologetic queer perspective you deserve. I'm your host, Zach Randles-Friedman, and today is Monday, November the 24th, and we're diving deep into some major news stories rocking our community. From international legal wins and license plate activism to queer culture clashes and political accountability. Our first story is heated rivalry finds a U.S. home at last. After months of teasing and international buzz, Heated Rivalry, a hot anticipated gay hockey romance based on Rachel Reed's best-selling novel, is finally coming to the U.S. screens. This steamy sports drama stars Connor Story and Hudson Williams, two rival hockey players whose intense competition gives way to a slow-burning, deeply erotic love affair. Fans were growing impatient as international trailers dropped and European platforms announced premieres, but no U.S. distributor had been named until now. Sources close to the show confirmed that a streaming deal is in the final stages with a rollout plan for early 2026. The show is expected to land on a mainstream platform like Hulu or Max, bringing queer love romance into sports arena in a way rarely seen on American TV. The series is not just eye candy, it's a cultural moment. It's tackling homophobia in sports, the complexities of masculinity, and the emotional intensity for forbidden love. So sharpen those skates and clear your schedules. It's about to get heated. Our next story to Rio, where Rio Pride turns into a celebration of the ex-president's arrest. Rio's iconic Copacabana beach already set to celebrate LGBTQ pride, but this year's parade turned into something much bigger, a political victory. That's because former president, infamous for his anti-LGBTQ plus comment, had been arrested the day before. He erupted with chants, "He's in prison," as thousands of streets, rainbow attire, dancing beneath glittery flags and vibrant banners. It was an emotional release for a community that endured years of hostility under the president's rule, where he once declared he preferred a dead son to a gay one and called himself a proud homophobe. Bolsonaro now faces a 27-year sentence tied to his attempt to power after losing the 2022 election. For many LGBTQ plus Brazilians, this moment wasn't just about pride. It was about reclaiming dignity, joy, and justice. Amazing. Next, Dominican Republic overturns anti-gay military laws. In a groundbreaking legal win, the Dominican Republic Constitutional Court has struck down 2 articles of military law that criminalize same-sex intimacy among police and amid armed forces. These provisions, which had been in place for decades, labeled consensual relationships between the same-gender officers as sodomy and punished them with prison terms up to 2 years. The court ruled that Articles 210 and 260 violated key constitutional principles, including the rights for privacy, non-discrimination, and personal autonomy. Importantly, no similar penalties ever existed for homosexuality intimacy. The judgment marks a huge shift in a country long influenced by conservative religious values. LGBTQ plus advocates say it sets a precedent for a broader legal reform and sends a clear message that queerness should never be a crime, especially in state institutions meant to protect the public. Next, we go to Ohio, where an Ohio man wins fight for gay license plate. William Saki of Lakewood, Ohio, is now proudly driving around with a license plate that reads exactly what he wanted. Gay. G-A-Y. But it didn't come easy. The Ohio Bureau of Motor Vehicles initially rejected his request, labeling the word inappropriate. Turns out gay was on a decades-old blacklist of nearly 62,000 banned terms, including queer, homo, and even lesbian. But other places with hetero slogans or even slurs like no homos or straight power have been approved. With the help of the First Amendment attorney, Psaki challenged the decision and won. Not just driving his truth, he's making legal history and inspiring others to take back their own visibility on their own terms. Amazing. Next, Trump TikTok slammed for using Wicked song in ICE video. The Trump administration is once again facing backlash, this time with TikTok video that paired with Cynthia Erivo's soaring rendition of Defying Gravity from Wicked with footage of ICE detaining immigrants. The clip posted on the official White House account included images of Donald Trump striding through the White House in a slow motion with scenes of immigrants being arrested. Overlaid text says, the queer community, theater fans, and human rights advocates quickly condemned the video. Wicked, written by queer lyricist Stephen Schwartz and beloved LGBTQ+ audience worldwide, is a story of rebellion, love, and rising against oppressive systems, not just celebrating cruelty. Using a queer anthem in this context is just tone deaf. It was cruel. Cynthia and her team have yet to comment, but outrage is still brewing. I mean, of all the songs, that's what they picked to use. I mean, come on. Use your brain. Ghana's president will sign anti-LGBTQ+ identity bill. Ghanaian President Nana Akufo-Addo has confirmed he will sign the Human Rights and Family Values Bill, a sweeping anti-LGBTQ+ law that would criminalize identifying as LGBTQ+ and punish so-called promotion of queer identities with up to 5 years in prison. The legislation has sparked international outcry. Critics call it one of the harshest anti-LGBTQ+ laws globally, equating it to Uganda's legislation passed earlier this year. LGBTQ+ Ghanaians, the law could mean losing jobs, families, and basic safety, simply for being who they are. Human rights groups are urging world governments and the UN to pressure Ghana to reverse course. Next, we go to Texas, where Texas law requires teachers to deadname trans students. A new Texas law is forcing educators to misgender and deadname trans students, even against their own professional judgment. Under Senate Bill 12, nicknamed Parents' Bill of Rights, teachers are prohibited from affirming a student's gender unless they have explicit parental consent. Trans student Ethan Brignac, who attends Wiley East High School, shared his painful experience. It's like my identity just disappeared. It's not just embarrassing, it's exhausting, he said. The law also allows parents to report teachers who refer to LGBTQ+ identities during school hours. Critics warn this opens the door to surveillance, intimidation, and further marginalization of queer youth. Our next story is first queer lesbian takes office in New York. History has been made in Evangelical Lutheran Church in America. Reverend Katrina Foster has become the first woman and first openly lesbian bishop of Metropolitan New York Synod. Overseeing 160 congregations, Bishop Foster brings not only her spiritual leadership but lived LGBTQ+ experience to one of the largest religious bodies in the state. At a time of growing anti-LGBTQ+ religious rhetoric, Foster's elevation sends a powerful counter-message. The queerness and faith can not only be coexist but thrive together. Next, Florida redeemed the least safest state for LGBTQ+ people. This is not a shocking story at all. Florida has received an F in LGBTQ+ state safety, topping the list as a least welcoming state for queer residents in a new nationwide survey. The rating considers anti-LGBTQ+ laws, public harassment reports, and state-led censorship, particularly under Ron DeSantis. Louisiana came in second, but Florida's combination of don't say gay law, drag show bans, and book censorship made it the worst for LGBTQ plus youth and adults alike. Many Floridians feel their rights and lives are under constant threat. LGBTQ plus advocacy groups continue to challenge the state's policies in court. And our last story for today, DOJ quietly removes report on missing Indigenous women. The Report of Justice has deleted a key report on missing and murdered Indigenous women from its website, igniting backlash from Native leaders and LGBTQ plus advocates. The report documented systematic failures to address violence in tribal communities, including LGBTQ plus Indigenous people who are among the most vulnerable. Senator Catherine Cortez Masto called the removal deliberate erasure. Indigenous activists say the move undermines efforts to create accountability and transparency in cases that often go unsolved and uninvestigated. The administration has not yet explained why the report was taken down, but the implications are chilling. And that's a wrap for today's Listen Up Girl podcast, where we keep you informed, empowered, and never silent. Make sure to follow, subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and we'll bring you more headlines tomorrow, from rodeo comebacks and Trans Day visuals to viral TikTok stories, Lady Gaga collab, and more queer wins around the world. I'm Zach Randles-Friedman, and I'll see you tomorrow. Stay loud, stay proud, and listen up, girl. Thanks so much for listening.